excited personally to bring Vinny Curry to Ask an Eagle.
Yeah.
Vinny and I got to know each other really well when he was an Eagle. And the one thing I'll say before you guys have questions is I don't think of Vinny Curry, the Super Bowl champion. I think of Vinny Curry, the first 2 years of his Eagles career. This was the hungriest man you have ever seen in your life just to get the opportunity that he and BG weren't getting. And we would talk about it a lot. You know, Jim Washburn had his guys and they were doing their thing. But once Vinny got his opportunity, man, that hunger really came out.
Man, that experience and that feeling, as you guys know, man, the reason I play football because I'm an Eagle fan. He's like, man, I can't wait to go down there and everything. So the emotion that was running through there and to really be a part and that season was special and every emotion that you ever felt, why you picked up a football and why you played the game to let it all out right there was unbelievable.
Love it. Love to hear it. All right, Vinny, I'm gonna be quiet now and let people start asking you questions. We're gonna start off with Wilton.
Hey, Vinny, so glad to have you, man. So during the Super Bowl, this past Super Bowl that we just won, I caught one of the interviews from one of your teammates in Tampa, Gerald McCoy. He was like borderline raving about how when you came there, you brought this like winner mentality and was like, a front runner leader in that group on the D line and everything. And it shocked me because seeing how I had no idea for one how cerebral he was and knowing the fronts and being able to see things like that. So hearing him rave about you about just in that sense alone was spectacular. So it made me want to ask you, what was your mindset when you got there? Like, what was your mentality of like, okay, even though I'm not in Philly no more, I'm now, here in Tampa, what was your kind of mindset and how do you think the coaches were kind of, wanting to use you in a sense?
When we went down to Tampa to go down, that year was freaking Mitch, JPP, myself, Bo, Gerald. We had just drafted Vita, and the first 3 or 4 games we were rolling. We were on fire, but I ended up having a high ankle sprain. I think JPP had some issues with his knee. Like we just started dropping like flies. But that whole training camp, just the mentality and the focus, and to understand. Look, guys, we're going to spend so much time with each other. That's how the great ones become great, and that's how teams win. That bonding time, we all laugh about it, but the more time we spend with each other and the more focus and understanding that we have for one another goes a long way. And that's the kind of mentality that I try to bring to the Bucks.
We got a guy here, Jalyx Hunt. And you and him play obviously similar positions, and you have similar stories in that you're coming from, schools where the level of talent that you played against, it was a big concern, you being a Marshall guy and him being, obviously from Houston Christian. So I want to ask you, was that really a big deal for you when you, obviously when you came to the league against the level up in talent? Did you really notice it?
Listen, so, at the DN matchup, it's a one-on-one, mano-a-mano. So, at the same time, it really never bothered me. That type of stuff, pressure, anybody who knows me, I love to rise to the occasion. And, the more pressure you put on me, the better I'm going to perform. And Jalyx, I actually got to meet him when he got drafted and got to hang out with him a little bit. And just the way where he was at and where he's becoming, oh, man, I think Washington is doing a phenomenal job with him. And I told him, I said, when your time comes, you're gonna know. But you just gotta continue to be yourself and what got you here. Guys like that always have the extra motor. Don't ever forget that, because at the back of their mind, they know people are kind of doubting it, and that's gonna help him fly around.
So it's a twofold question. One, how did your technique evolve? And number two, for somebody like Nolan Smith, who was a tweener, you didn't know where to play him. And especially 2 years, people are like, oh, he's a bust, he's not doing much. And then last year, the breakout. What do you tell somebody like that who maybe is going through something of what you went through to keep them going and keep them moving in the right direction?
You just got to understand, trust the process, understand what got you here. How'd you become a first round pick? How'd you become one of the Georgia greats? Just understand that. Having understanding and shoulders to lean on, that goes back to what I was telling you is in the beginning when I say, we have to lean on each other for family. It's I truly had great people in our room, that's my best friends to this day. That it's probably a week that I don't go in that group text. That
You
helped us
guys still
get through
stay in
some.
contact?
Oh my God, you have craziness, yeah, yeah.
You, Chris Long, Fletcher Cox.
Everybody, yes.
Wow.
Because at the end of the day,
That's
even
awesome.
older players, like I still talk to Down Tat.
Oh my
I
God.
talk to Trent. I probably talk to Trent Cole every day. Yeah, those type of vets, them teaching the game and understand what comes with this. But the thing is, when we got like the show, imagine winning the Super Bowl and then I drafted Nolan. So imagine the amount of pressure that was on him.
Yeah.
So when we got drafted, it was super pressure because you got the T. Coles, you got the Bunks, you know what I mean? So you got me and Flesh, you got all these guys and shoes to fit in, but instead of trying to fill shoes, you got to create your own print inside yourself. So that's one thing that, and then he had a great vet in the room as well. Nolan, I'm pretty sure he bounced a lot of frustration or concerns on BG. And BG is one of the greats to bounce some type of ideas off because, like I said, man, he been through it all.
Adam asked us, he was like, "Hey, who do you guys want on?" I was the first. I was like, "Vinny."
Appreciate that.
Man, huge fan. So I have a question. So you got to go through a bunch of coaches
Right.
with the Eagles. Pretty much all of the Eagles coaches since Andy, except for Sirianni. So I have a two-part question. One, would you have liked to play for Sirianni?
Absolutely, dude. The passion he brings is up Vinny Curry's alley. Turned down for what? It's not my alley. I'm a high energy dude.
That was a layup, Eddie.
Right. And then the second question would be like, out of all those seasons coming into them, was 17, did it feel different?
So Mr. Laurie make us do a community build, a community thing, like kind of like, city bonding along with the team bonding. And I remember me and Ashan sitting there, he was like, he told everybody, he was like, look, man, see, the next time we come here and paint, we're gonna be painting a trophy on this wall. We winning the Super Bowl. And I was like, everybody was like, you damn right. Yeah, you damn right. That I would never forget that because once training camp started, if you go back, we once training camp started and Miami came to town to practice with us, they need to release that footage.
Man, I just want to echo everybody's sentiment, man. We love you and big Eagle fans, all of us, and appreciate the hard work in 2017. And my cousin, he passed away, but he was a big fan of yours. He was an Eagle fan too, but
Peace, baby.
he loved you. He always talked about Vinny Curry and Chris Long. Those were his guys from the 2017 team. So I just got a quick question for you. When you're playing on a team like that, like the 2017 team, and you're a defensive end and you're playing in such a room that's deep where you have 5 or 6 guys who could probably legitimately be starters, is it harder for you during the game days where you do get those snaps? Let's say you're only playing 15 to 20 snaps because they're distributing the workload throughout those 6 or 7 guys.
Good question, Eric.
That's a great question. So check me out. We used to have this thing like, man, you got to get in the beginning of it. Like you watched the way the career was going in the beginning. I had to get into the rhythm of it. I remember going into that season like, man, I don't care if it's 5 plays, 10 plays, I'm gonna make something shake. I promise you. So if you remember, I had the most quarterback hits on first and second down out the entire league, and that drove me. Like I wanted to be the one to have the most tackles for loss on the first, second down, most quarterback hits on the first and second down, and most pressures from the first and second down. And I did, and that was the thing that Jim kind of challenged me on once I started talking about it. And he was like, all right. He had the gift to get into your mind and make you play out of your mind. So it was just one of those things is if you already know the answer to the test before you go there, you got to just make everyone count. And that's why when people be like, oh man, you see the way the Eagles is rotating and rolling it around, we started that whole 8-man front thing. Yes, the Giants started the 4-man pass rush with how they got there, but the 8-man rotation and the way it's going, because we were playing so fast and such at a high level. Now that's we're looking at it now. couple years down the line, everybody's trying to do it. They're trying to imitate it.